Okay, hello world and welcome to another episode of Dave Trip, and I've made this video so many times now that I've actually written out the notes of what I wanted to talk about to prevent rambling and to make sure that I touch on absolutely everything. So here it goes. This video, as indicated by the title, is talking about what I wish I knew about teaching in Japan before I came over here. And this is for people specifically who are coming over to teach in Japan and are thinking of doing so for more than 1 year. People who may consider this as a potential line for a career. That's who I'm speaking to, because if you're just coming over here for a year, then you're fine. There's very little you need to worry about. You don't need to worry about this in terms of a career progression at all. You'll just have a fantastic experience. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. What did I wish I knew in terms of how to better my career more quickly, more efficiently? What was I unaware of? So when you're coming over, this is to create an outline of the idea. You're coming over usually with, if not Jet being so highly competitive, so many more people are coming over with like around 5 big other companies. And those companies are Interact, Peppy Kids Club, ECC, Heart Japan, Borderlink, yeah, so that's like a good list of them. A Cup, that's another one of the huge ones. Now, these guys have a couple characteristics. First and foremost is just how large they are, and then the most significant, and this is kind of, I'll elaborate on this, is the most significant thing is that these big companies do is bring people from overseas, and it's the impact of bringing people from overseas that I want to discuss most and how it changes everything, and I wish I was more aware. So if they're willing to bring you from overseas, you got to think that there's a couple things that they can do as a result of that. Biggest one is they have this huge talent pool to draw from. They have the world to draw from their talent pool. They're putting in an initial investment for the fact they need to get you here, but they can go around the world to find somebody to do it. So good for them. Another big plus for them, because they have such a large talent pool, is that they can offer, compared to all the jobs that are available for teaching in Japan, lower pay rate, because they don't need to worry about they're getting inexperienced teachers who are coming over, and there's tons of them. So if they do offer slightly lower, that's no great surprise, right? That's just something that they're going to do. So moving along then, that I can make this concise, the biggest thing I've noticed, first thing I'll say is, if you are looking to progress in this and create somewhat of a career out of this, just to progress even, you can start to look for work, alternative work, right away when you come over to the country. And that's the biggest thing I've realized as I've now started the process myself, about 2 years into it. I should have been starting, if it was my goal to evolve, should have started this even within the first year. Within 6 months, you could start looking around for this. And the biggest thing that you're finding, and I've already mentioned the secret of this whole video, is that these companies that are going to give you more opportunity, that are going to pay you better, that are smaller, don't want the pain in the ass of getting you into the country with zero experience. That's the biggest thing, where you'll find that any better job that you'll see on these really obvious websites that you can find jobs on, that's almost their greatest requirement, is must currently reside in Japan. And then I was more shocked when I looked at these jobs where I thought, now, you know, I'm approaching 3 years experience, that would be something that was really what mattered, was the amount of experience. And I thought, no, when I looked at it, 1 year is enough, 2 years is enough, sometimes not even having a full year. It's just, wow, you're already here. We don't have to worry about how serious you are about being in the country. And this is the great secret. You are worth a great amount just to be here. That's an incredible value to these smaller companies. So what does that translate to in terms of working for one of these smaller companies once you're here? Now, they're drawing on a much, much smaller talent pool by virtue of the fact that you already live here. There's not as many people living here willing to teach English as there are around the world. That's a no-brainer. And so right away, you are going to look at getting somewhere in a much higher pay scale. I've seen jobs that are minus 1 year experience that go with a few numbers now. With these larger companies, you're probably going to come in, vary a little bit, but around 230,000 yen a month, which is enough to live on. And if yeah, is enough to live on, and you can save as well, especially in your first year, because you don't really get taxed on anything. You don't have to pay any significant amount for health insurance or anything like that. These companies, these smaller companies, right away are going to pay you something closer to 260 to 270,000 a month. So bam, right there. And then this goes upwards. Once you even have a year of experience and you're a good teacher, you could go from 290 to above 300,000. And then to put that into kind of figures so you don't have to put it into Google or anything, if you're making around 300,000 yen, you're making between it's like $35,000 and $40,000 Canadian / US dollars. And that's really good. That's a lot of people come out of very, demanding programs out of university or college. That's where you're going to start. So great in terms of the increase in the amount that you're actually going to get paid. Let's look at other benefits. Now, in larger companies, you're going to have saturation in the higher levels. They're big. They've been around for ages. There's people who have established themselves in them. So if you want to move up, you're going to run into them already having moved up, and it's difficult. Where these smaller companies, English isn't going away in Japan. In fact, it's booming, and they're introducing it to younger and younger kids and all that. So all these smaller schools, smaller companies have more opportunity. It's natural because if they're doing well, they're expanding. They're usually like in more desperate need of teachers. So, if they open a new location, if you've already been working for them for a year or two, maybe you are now the principal or head teacher or school manager at their new location, thinking more kind of a Kaiwas in this sense. So you get that opportunity for more, what would you call that? Like upward mobility in terms of your actual role. You get the greater pay scale. Another thing that occurs with these larger companies is because they're in the school system, the public school system, you're getting a lot of these wonderful days off. And so when you initially arrive in the first year, maybe that's a wonderful thing. But if you're looking to save more money, what I just said, that they'll pay you $230,000 a month, that's on a full paid month with one of these big companies where it's not so obviously put out there. It's a little more small printish, but a lot of the months are prorated. So if you're at Christmas time and you get a bunch of weeks off, hallelujah, you're free, but you're going to make significantly less in that month. And so you're not actually making the amount, the even lower amount than these other companies that are available, than what they say. So when they say you're going to get paid $230,000, that's usually it's not what you're actually going to get paid per month. Smaller companies do not do that. You're going to end up working more for them because they usually don't adhere to all these public holidays, but you will not be prorated. So the amount that you're actually going to get paid, which is already now higher, is also consistent pay. It's not going to be this kind of like up and down depending on how many days off with public holidays you had in this month and that month. So that's a really, really important thing to know. In addition to this, when you're working for these other bigger companies, one of the other things I mentioned in another video is that you'll oftentimes, even though you work full-time hours, will be considered part-time. And because of that, they won't pay or assist you, which they legally must, with your health insurance and things like pension if you're a full-time employee. Small companies will do that. So that's another thing. Again, this arrives at the point that this only really matters if you're looking to make more of a career kind of thing out of this, because if you're here for the 1 year, you're off scot-free. You don't have a history of income, so you don't really get taxed. You don't have a history of anything, so health insurance costs you nothing. That kind of thing. But as soon as you hit that second year and you're in that same lower pay bracket, you're gonna really feel that, because all of a sudden you have these much higher payments to make per month, and it can really impact your ability to save. Definitely can impact your ability to save. So those are all really significant things. And the last piece of advice, and the central advice for this whole video, is do not wait to start looking around for opportunities when you are here. Satisfy your moral conscience in terms of completing a contract or something like that. But don't make the mistake that I made, which was thinking that the most important thing is experience. The most important thing, believe it or not, for getting better positions in Japan teaching are that you are in Japan. That is the most significant thing. So don't wait. When you arrive, start looking around, create a hobby of it, and it can be entertaining. It can. So there you go. I hope you found this useful. Please do like, subscribe, comment, share. If you want to get a hold of me, any questions about teaching, comment down below, or my email is also available in case you want to do something a little more lengthy, and I will make a video to answer any sort of questions that you might have about teaching, living, all that kind of stuff in Japan. And please do smash that like button because it indicates to me that people like these kind of videos, and it helps me grow the channel. All right, I appreciate you very much dropping by to check this out. I really do hope it was useful. And like I like to say, thanks for tripping with Dave. And until we meet again, ciao for now. Peace.